Going in light, coming out heavy.
So, what makes a good hunter a good hunter? And
being a guide in Alaska, it's all decision making. Decision making that can result in life or death.
here we go.
It's go time.
8, 9, and 10 as your border is pretty good. So if you've got a 7 East tag or 7 West tag, very different from 7 West, get ready. I mean, you've got to do your scouting, you got to do your homework. Overall hunt strategy for 7 East and 7 West. All right, guys, we're talking Unit 7, 7 East, and 7 West. We're going to talk hunting strategy, draw odds, hunting spots, and everything in between. Unit 7 is one of those areas that comes up as an easier to draw area. It's these units that are not quite up to trophy hunter potential, and they have draw availabilities to people that from all over the place, whether it's late archery, early archery, late rifle. There's a lot of draw odds that favor people that don't have a lot of points, and the trophy potential is not sky high. We'll specifically talk draw odds and go over exactly what it takes to draw 7 East and 7 West later on. But right now we're just going to talk about just overall hunt strategy for 7 East and 7 West. Let's start with 7 East first. 7 East is a little bit more difficult to hunt. Population is a little bit lower. It can be a lot more rugged. They have different hunts specifically within 7 East that are isolated. The Peaks hunt, the Peaks Wilderness hunt, is a hunt that is low opportunity rates, typically kind of really remote elk herds. They're trying to get some of these elk off the mountain, and it's really, really nasty. If you want to try to draw one of those hunts, it doesn't take a lot of points, but what it does take is a lot of fitness. So be ready, guys. You want to hunt 7 East and you want to get up into the mountains. They're really, really rugged mountains. Just be ready for it. 7 East early archery is actually a decent hunt. I've heard a lot of bad things about it. It's actually not that bad. I mean, you've got the components to make a good early archery elk hunt. You've got elk, and you've got water, and you've got cover, and you've got feed. It is a pretty good hunt. I mean, you can sit water and be successful in 7 East. You can go hike around the mountains and chase elk around the mountains, and it's really accessible. You don't have to be a mountain climber to hunt 7 East. You can go camp in the flats, bring your trailer, your truck, your side-by-side, and have a really good hunt. Just hunting elk in some of the meadows and some of those timbered areas, and then into those rolling junipers. And especially if these elk are talking, guys, it's a good hunt. Doesn't take a ton of points to draw, so you're not putting a lot on the line, and you still get to hunt early archery elk in Arizona. So I think it's a really good hunt for what it is. No, I don't think you should blow 15 bonus points on an early archery 7 East hunt if you're a resident. I think you can use those points differently. That'll give you a better opportunity on a bigger bull. You know, in 7 East, I mean, the trophy quality, I've seen some 330 bulls come out of 7 East, but typically you're looking at that 300 and below type bull just because of the access and kind of where it's located. There's a lot of where the elk densities are. There's some good stuff. I mean, especially when you're touching 11M, there can be some really good bulls that kind of drift back and forth between 7 East and 11M and 7 West as well. So just be aware of that. I'm looking at that on the map right now and just kind of showing you guys some of the spots to focus on. Obviously, fitness definitely depends on where you're going to start, where you're going to be successful hunting. So the other factor is in 7 East is obviously the weather. You're getting up on that plateau type area in Arizona where if it's dry, it's dry. And if it's hot, it's hot. And if it's really wet, it's really wet. And if it's cold, it's super cold. 7 East has extremes. What that does in bad drought years is definitely hurt the elk hunting. So if you've got a 7 East tag or 7 West tag, and it's been a totally bad season, tons of drought, everything kind of going the wrong way, super hot, expect a difficult hunt and expect to really try to find that water. 7 East is one of those units where literally water holes can dry up during your hunt, especially during early archery elk season because it can be hot. So really understanding and getting in there and mapping out where the fresh water is super important for your hunt. You can't just assume that every water hole on the map has water in it, guys. It's not like that. So that's a little pro tip. Go in there and check the water because it can dry up from week to week, from day to day, especially if there's cattle around. Super dry years, these cattle can come in and literally drink the entire water tank up. The elk will have to move and shift into a different area to water. Really doing your scouting in 7 East will pay off because it's not an obvious unit to hunt, and it can be stressed out because of the heat, because of the cold, because of the low densities, because of the terrain. Just be aware of that. I would hunt, if I was hunting 7 East early archery, I would hunt in the southern half. That northern half and northeastern half is pretty sparse. There's not a ton of elk density out there. There's not a lot of water. There's not a lot of feed. But there's some canyons and stuff you guys can look into, and it does hold elk. But that's not where I would focus on with my personal hunt or with clients. I want to be where the elk are. I want to be where the elk are moving and hopefully calling during that early archery elk season. Late rifle season, you can hike up the mountains. These elk are going to be up in the mountains, and they're going to be hard to kill, and they're going to be hard to find. But you can do it. Really, you're just looking to shoot a bull in 7 East. You're not looking, if you're going to draw that tag, you're not looking to shoot a giant bull. That's not the mindset you need to go in there doing. Your mindset going into a 7 East rifle elk hunt is find a bull and then find a way to kill that bull. So, and it can be in the juniper flats, guys, down lower. Those elk are really accessible too. You can oftentimes find them bedding up on those little hills, hitting water. You can hunt very easily from a quad, from a truck in some of that lower country as it drifts out into the northern half of 7 East. I like it. I like 7 East for what it is. No, it's not the best hunt for a trophy bull. No, it's not the best hunt for extreme circumstances and weather and stuff like that. It's really not, but it gives you an opportunity with not a ton of points on the line, and you're still chasing around elk in Arizona, so you can't really beat that. 7 West is kind of an upgraded version of 7 East, in my opinion. The trophy quality is a little bit higher. You can find some big bulls in 7 West. The early archery elk hunting is a little bit better. 7 West borders more of Unit 9, so elk come back and forth from Unit 9 and 7 West, so you've kind of got that going for you. It's a little bit resistant to extreme weather. It's a little bit more covered. There's a lot more timber. There's mountains, and then there's junipers, obviously, in that northern half. So 7 West is the same approach. I mean, I would hunt really anywhere in 7 West if I was early archery elk hunting. The southern border up against Unit 8. I mean, the western border is Unit 10. The northern border is Unit 9. You can't really, 8, 9, and 10 as your borders as a unit is pretty good. So there's not really a bad place to hunt in 7 West. I mean, I would focus personally on the southern half, kind of where it's thicker if it's early archery elk season, in some of that timber and some of those mountains up along Unit 8. That's where I would personally start. That's maybe not where I would end up and eventually be successful, but that's where I like to start and do my scouting down there first, because typically during the summer months, during the early archery elk, they're going to be up in the shade. They're going to get in that timber where the water is, and as you move further north in 7 West, some of that water can be affected by drought for sure. I mean, I saw that this year. 7 West was a really tough unit to hunt this year. As I had some guys that were successful and other guys just could not find an elk. So it can be one of those units where get ready. I mean, you got to do your scouting, you got to do your homework, and know that those water sources will change. Because I did see it in 7 West. There was water in August that wasn't there in September, and then that wasn't there in October and November. Everything was kind of changing. We didn't get any precipitation in the fall, so things were rapidly kind of moving, and the elk were following suit, so they were following the water. Just be aware you have to do your scouting ahead of time and really actually see what the conditions are right before your hunt. Late rifle elk hunting is same thing. Understand where the water is. The most important timing is right before your hunt. But with a late rifle elk hunt, you can get up into some higher country, some mountains, and there's isolated little mountain ranges all over 7 West that are great. There's elk on almost every single one of them, not just the big giant mountains. There's elk everywhere in 7 West. Not a huge density and not a giant trophy potential, but you can still pull a 300 to 330 plus inch bull out of 7 West if you do your homework, if the conditions are right, and if you have a little luck on your side. That always helps too, especially when you're shooting and hunting for big bulls. 7 West, I like it. I give 7 West a big thumbs up. Fun unit to hunt. Can be pretty temperamental when it comes to weather, and 7 East as well, because you're kind of up on that plateau. You know, you got to do your homework. Things can dry out. Things can get hot. Things can get really cold. Be aware of those late hunts in Unit 7 East and 7 West. You can get 2-3 feet of snow on you, and it will totally change how you hunt and your access into a lot of these areas. A lot of times they'll shut off certain gates. The Forest Service will lock gates up on the mountains so you can't even access it because of the snow, because they don't want people stuck, and then they don't want to have rescue missions up there. Know what you're getting into. 7 West draw odds, 7 East draw odds. We're going over them right now. Let's take a look at it. So it doesn't take a ton of points to draw 7 East on either end, whether you're a non-resident or resident. whether you're hunting early archery, late archery, or late rifle. 7 East is a very small barrier to entry when it comes to bonus points, and then 7 West, a little bit higher trophy potential, so it makes the draw odds a little bit lower. You need a few more bonus points to hunt 7 West, but overall it's very, very doable for most guys that have put in for the western states and build points in the western states, especially in Arizona. So 7 West is good, 7 East is good. Just know the hunt strategy going into it, know what each unit really means. They're not the same, even though they're the same number. 7 East is very different from 7 West, and just understanding the differences in those and then how to approach that hunt is very important. And as always, do your scouting, keep it real, get there before your hunt, and really, really do your homework, because e-scouting can only get you so far. Get your boots on the ground, see what it's all about, see what the mountains feel like, and hopefully you guys will draw a tag and hammer a good bull. Talk to you later.